Hey, I'm Asti.
And I'm Vanessa.
And welcome to Invyted In, the podcast where we're spilling the tea on all your favourite influencers.
So each week we're going to be bringing you the juiciest goss with the influencers on our platform who are absolutely killing it at social media. So whether you're an influencer yourself or you're thinking about just getting started, welcome, you're invited in.
A massive thank you to our amazing sponsor, Premier Podcast Studios, for bringing you this episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Invyted In. Today we're joined by the amazing Leila, one of our incredible influencers. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh my God, it's so good to be here.
Honestly,
I know, just quick
so
segue. I just want to actually mention what just happened a second ago because I feel like I want to document this. So basically, we had Leila coming in today. And then as soon as the door opened for who I thought was going to be Leila, a completely different girl just walked in and sat down, fully prepared to get on this podcast. But then Leila got taken away to a completely other place, didn't you?
Yeah, so I think the meeting point outside, there was somebody meeting this girl to take her into a completely separate thing, and you were coming outside to meet me, but we both switched. So I got taken to this room, and there was about 15, 20 people all sat down on a sofa, and they were like, great, we're just about to start, like, go sit down. I was like, oh, is this like a group podcast?
Like a lot of people.
I mean, I do like to be the main character, but if this is a group situation, okay, I can deal with that. So I sat down and they were like, okay, do you want to introduce yourself, give your name? I was like, okay, cool, name. Then they were like, your uni course. And I was like, wait, what? I graduated years ago. And then they were like, and your worst hair story. And I was like, I mean, I've been out in the rain, but my hair's like looking pretty good. Like, and then I was like, wait a minute. I'm in the wrong place. No. I'm in the wrong place. And I had to sit there in front of all of these 15 people and be like, yeah, guys, I'm not supposed to be here. I think hilarious. I'm in the wrong place. And then everyone just kind of like, it went silent. Everyone just burst out laughing. And it was honestly one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me.
What were the other 15 people doing? Were they like also...
They were all like, oh, hi, like being really nice. And then when I said I was in the wrong place, they were all just laughing at me. And I literally went bright red. And I grabbed my jacket, literally ran out of the room. I took a bottle of water though. I did take a bottle of water. I got a souvenir. I got a souvenir. But it was honestly one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me. And I was like, oh my God.
Honestly, it was so funny. It was so funny.
Yeah, the girl who basically came in and sat here, she was all in pink as well. I was like, you're so on brand. She was like, am I on a podcast? She was like, what am I doing?
So confused, but she was so ready.
It's like, have you seen that BBC clip where there's like a guy and he's actually just in like the technology background, but he comes in and he does like the full news reporting article, whatever it is, on live air, and he's not actually the person that's supposed to be there.
I have seen that.
No. I think like fully like wings it. Yeah. That could have been that girl.
That could have been.
She could have come on, but when she said her name, we were like, wait a second. Is this like, I don't know, a fake influencer name or something?
Oh my God, and we literally just crossed paths like in the hallway as well. And we were both like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. It was so embarrassing. I think that's like top 3 most embarrassing things to happen to me.
I love that though. I
Quite
think it's
iconic,
a really good story. What a great way to start this podcast.
Yeah, great.
We've got an impersonator, an imposter.
I know, honestly. Well, we got the real you now.
Yay, so the real Leila's here.
Yeah, super excited to have you on today. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem.
We'll basically just be delving into some kind of influencer stories, influencer secrets we'd love you to share as of your story of becoming a content creator. So maybe we should start just kind of for the people who don't know who you are, what you do, just do you want to kind of explain your kind of story, how you kind of became a creator?
Yeah, of course. So I graduated in psychology, so that's what my degree was in. Did my A-levels, was very academic, amazing. So I was not in like the creative side at all. And I kind of thought, okay, you go to uni and then you get a job after. Great, like you get a good job. That's why you go to uni. But with psychology, turns out it's not like that. You have to do loads more years of study. You have to do a lot of very like low paid, like minimum wage, like really, really hard jobs.
You wanted
to
be a psychologist? Was that the end goal? Or?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to like, I did really want to be involved in like the clinical side, like the mental health side of things. I was really, really interested in that. But then, I don't know, I feel like I was kind of like sold a dream with uni. They're like, yeah, you can go do psychology and you'll be a psychologist, but it just doesn't work like that. There's like so many other things that you have to do. And I think being like in my early 20s, I just wasn't like cut out for that at all. I mean, I could always go back to it like later on in life, but I think I wasn't cut out for it. I wanted to be able to make money in my 20s instead of having to wait until I was like 30s, 40s to be on a decent salary. So kind of started like it was like when TikTok first came around, you know, during COVID.
Yeah.
And I was broke out of uni. I was so broke. And I was like, right, I need to like figure something out that I'm going to enjoy. I couldn't even go and get a psychology related job if I wanted to because I graduated during COVID. My last year was like in lockdown.
So
it's like, what are you actually supposed to do in that situation other than take to TikTok and embarrass yourself? But yeah, I started off doing kind of like, you know, the trends and like the dances.
Yeah, it was back then.
Yeah, way back when. And like, if you look at that now, like you're like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. But at the time, like it wasn't
it helped you get you here. So that like those like embarrassing moments helped you get you.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, I didn't really take off doing that much. I like had a few. So I had like a few like little viral moments, but I wasn't really showing my personality. And then it got to a point like just over a year ago now where I was like, right, I'm not going viral anymore. The dances aren't really working. I feel like TikTok got to a point where the stuff that used to go viral that was super easy, just you would stop going viral for that. It wouldn't work anymore. There was too many people doing it. It was too oversaturated. So I was like, right, I need to try something new. And I saw a girl doing like interviews on the street. And I thought that they were so funny. She would kind of like flirt with the guys. And I just thought, oh my God, that's so funny. Like that's
how I discovered you as well. Not actually through Invyted, even though I then saw that you were a creator. I was like, oh my God, amazing. But yeah, this is how I actually found you. But sorry.
So I was like too nervous to do like the street kind of stuff at this point. But I was going to an influencer boxing fight like the next week. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be really funny? Because I was friends with a few of the fighters. I'd like met them at previous fights. And I was like, wouldn't it be really funny if I did those kind of interviews, bring that like flirty side of things that I've never seen any other like boxing interviewers do. It's all quite professional. I was like, wouldn't it be really funny if I kind of brought that entertainment side to it and gave it a go? So I bought these like £30 microphones off Amazon. They were so bad. Honestly, if you go back to the quality of my content from like a year and a bit ago, it was terrible. Sometimes I would forget to turn them on. Like it was so blurry. Like it was literally terrible. But I worked at the Courage to do some interviews. The first few days that I was there for the press conference and everything, I was way too scared to even try and like interview anyone. I was too nervous. The microphone stayed firmly in my bag. But on the actual fight night, I managed to like work up the courage to do a few interviews, and everyone was like, just edit them all now, like post them like on the night, post like 10. So I did that, and then they all just like blew up like overnight. They got like hundreds of thousands, like millions of views, and I was like, okay, there's clearly something in this. Yeah. And then, but then obviously Misfits, it doesn't happen every week or every month. It's like quite sporadic. So I was like, I need to figure out where to take this next. So that's how I got into the whole street side of things. So for anybody that doesn't know, I would consider myself like a street interviewer / presenter. But yeah, I mainly focus on like the street interview side of things now. And the first ever street interview video that I did, it got 60 million views. So I was like, okay, this is like made for me.
When did you post that? That was like
a year and a bit ago. It was like March, like last year.
I feel like that's like there's like a trend, like definitely that the street interviews, like a lot of brands are doing it now as well. I mean, we've even tried to do some as well, but I feel like you definitely like, you know, jumped on that at the very, very start.
Yeah, because I think there's not a lot of girls that are in the street interview scene either. So I've got quite like a good niche, because I think it is like a hard thing to do. Like it took me a long time to work up the confidence to be able to do it, but I just love it so much. Like I never thought that I would find my passion in that, but like I really have. Like I just absolutely adore being out on the street, meeting new people, and being out there with my little microphone.
Amazing. And is this like your full-time thing now?
Yeah. So in the last year, I've managed to make it my full-time job now.
Amazing.
Oh, God, congratulations.
Thank you.
Honestly, so much fun. I feel like, doing the street interviews and stuff, like obviously it's super engaging content. Like, people always want to watch those type of videos to the very end.
Yeah, and I'm always trying to like push the boat out and see what I can do next that's gonna like shock people, entertain people.
Do you actually have any tips actually if someone wants to do street interviews for their content?
Yeah, so I think I would say at the start, definitely just start with like the basic equipment. I mean, I started with like £30 microphones on Amazon, and it's kind of just about the confidence. Like you just have to get rid of the fear of what people think. You have to kind of get rid of that fear of rejection as well, because I go up to a lot of people and they're going to say no because they don't want to be on camera, whatever, but you just can't take it personally. Like if someone came up to me and it was a bad day and my like hair was a mess, I wouldn't want to be on camera either. So never take it personally, but you just really, because it is daunting being stood out there and you're like, okay, I have to go and approach random people now. But you just have to get yourself on a good energy. Like I kind of like to change up the way that I approach people sometimes. Instead of being like really professional, like, oh, hi, please, will you be in an interview? I'm like, you look like you want to be in an interview. And I just try and get on that good energy. And then people want to like be around it. And then sometimes I find when I'm doing an interview, other people come over and be like, oh, what's this? Like, can I be in it? And it's kind of like a bit of a snowball effect. So you just have to be really confident.
Yeah. I can clearly see that because I can see you sometimes like going up to guys and like flirting with them. I'm like, fair play.
Honestly, great.
Fair play.
I love that.
I feel like my followers love that side of the content, and it is
Yeah,
usually what gets the best
me as
views.
well.
It does show your own personality as well.
Yeah, but it also isn't the most brand friendly. Like brands want more kind of like family friendly, like PG stuff. So trying to find that balance is definitely difficult as well.
Yeah. I mean, actually, moving on to kind of like brands, I was going to ask, like, you probably do get lots of brands obviously approaching you to work with you. How is it with the type of content you do? Because is it like a slightly different type of collaboration in that sense? Like you not so much like creating content, I don't know, with a brand. Is it like involved in your interviews, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so it usually always is, because I think, you know, it's very easy for a lot of creators. Well, it's not easy, but a lot of creators can just sit in their bedroom and talk about a product and that's the brand deal done. Whereas with mine, it's a lot more complicated. I have to organize a filming day, go out to the street. I take my camera, my tripod, have like a team of people that will help me film. So it's a lot more complicated, but I always do it in the interview style because that's what I'm kind of like known for, I guess, and that's what I do best. And it's obviously, like I say, quite like a niche thing to do because there's a lot of guys on the scene, but there's not a lot of females. So I'm quite lucky in that way, and I can get a lot of like the makeup ones and the clothing ones, maybe the ones that other guys on the scene wouldn't want to do. But yeah, like it usually is all my interviews that gets me the brand deals. But because I go around with signs sometimes as well, like cardboard signs, and that recently has been getting me a lot of brand deals as well.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, it's just like street content in general, I guess.
Yeah, I saw the finance bro one. It's very good. Guys, you just need to check out her content page.
I'm looking for a man in finance. Yeah, just any guys in finance watching that have got a trust fund, then hit me up.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of the brands as well, like I'm super interested. Yeah. What's been like the best brand that you've collaborated with for your interview style content?
Do you know what? I've worked with so many amazing brands. One of my favorites was Sunglass Hut at London Fashion Week. Cool. I've worked with them twice now, the one in February, the one in September. They also gifted me some Prada sunglasses. Oh, wow. I literally cried when I opened that parcel. I love the guys at Sunglass Hut so much. And they always bring like a team out to help me film the video as well, which is really nice. I did a campaign with Rimmel London recently, which I felt like that was a really exciting one for me because it was like makeup, and I've been wearing their like mascaras and lip liners since I was like literally a teenager. So
nice.
That was definitely a pinch me moment. But no, I've worked with some amazing brands, like a lot of food ones like Tropicana, Little Moons I've worked with. I work with Rightmove as well, which is super random, but I love that because like we all use Rightmove when we're like looking for a new apartment.
It's quite nice to see like all the different brands out there reaching out to you.
Yeah, it's like from all
like a massive range of
things. And I worked with a finance brand recently as well.
From
my finance videos.
No way. Like trying to tailor it.
And they're like a really professional like qualification. It's called like ACCA. It's like the qualification that people do to become, you know, work in finance. Yeah. So I just thought that was so cool from that like one video that I did.
Oh, amazing.
That's so much fun.
Working with them,
I know we just talked about some of the brands that worked really, really well for you.
Yeah.
Not naming any names, have you actually worked with any brands where it was actually very disappointing or terrible experience?
Yes, and this was
Let me
spill the tea. I've been ready for this my whole life.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so this was actually like a year ago. I think this was just before I was like signed with the management, and what a lot of brands will do, this wasn't in this situation, but what I will say is what a lot of these agencies do if you're not signed to a management, say a brand's paying like £4,000 for a video or for a campaign, the agency will then come to you, offer you like £400 and take the rest for themselves. And I don't know about other niches, but it's very common in the street interview scene. So you end up getting massively underpaid if you don't have a management to kind of negotiate that price and show you the contracts. And yeah, so if you're doing street interviews, make sure you always see the contract of how much an agency, this middleman kind of company, is getting from these brands. But yeah, anyway, that out of the way, I did work with a brand that took me to a festival, and this wasn't paid. So they were just paying for like the ticket to the festival. And I wasn't necessarily that bothered about going to this specific festival. I just really wanted to work with the brand because it's a huge brand. One of, I would say, the biggest brands ever. For like a long, long time. So they paid for like the festival ticket, and it was just so like a gifted thing in return for going to the festival. And I was already going to be quite out of pocket because this wasn't in the city that I was living in. I was having to like stay at my family home, but to travel, it was still in a different city from there. It was just kind of close. So I was having to spend like £100 per night on a taxi to come home because it wasn't, they didn't pay for the full weekend ticket, it was just like a day ticket.
Fine.
Yeah, so I was already out of pocket, but they basically said, this isn't a paid campaign, but we will consider you for like, we have a big paid campaign coming up and we'll consider you. You'll be in with a good chance of getting it. So I was like, okay, great. Like even though I'm out of pocket and it's like a weekend off that I could be doing other things, I'm going to do it because it's a huge brand. Went there, did the content. And they were just really like funny with me. They would make me re-edit things like so many different times. They'd even to the point where they'd be like, can you capitalize this letter on this word? And I think for a paid campaign, all well and good, completely fair enough. Yeah. But when it's just in return for something gifted, it's like a bit much. Like, honestly, it must have been like 20 re-edits that I was having to send over while I was at the festival. They also told me that they didn't want me to do my interviews. They just wanted me to do day in the life content. Did that, went off to enjoy the festival, was about to drink, like, because this is when I was drinking, I don't drink anymore. I was about to start drinking and they were like, oh, can you actually come back? This was mid-set of someone that I was like seeing in concert. Oh, can you come back? We've actually decided that we do want you to do interviews now.
No, they can't change.
So they were just messing me about so much and I wasn't being paid for it. And it's like, okay, fair enough. If I was being paid for it or if I really wanted to go to the festival and it was like a dream festival of mine, great. But really it was just taking time away from like other work that I was supposed to be doing because I was doing this all on my own. And I just found it really cheeky when they're this huge corporation, this huge company. And then guess what? Of course, they never actually got in touch with me for like the future work.
Oh dear.
So honestly, it's so bad. I feel like we need to be like, creators need to be like super careful with like the big brands.
And it's always the ones that are paying you the most money, that are the most chilled and like let you do your thing. Whereas when they weren't even paying me for it, they were like the most picky with everything and making me come back to like refilm stuff. And
that's so frustrating.
It was just a lot, Yeah,
I can see that being so annoying.
It's just so frustrating.
Especially with like the 20 iterations.
I'd be like,
honestly,
and of course, you don't need to do that with a gifted
oh my
thing.
God, I know. Like putting a letter as like a capital, it's like, oh, come on. And like, I understand, like I'm so lucky to be able to go to a festival. Of course, that's some people's dreams and I totally appreciate that. But I think it was the fact that I was so out of pocket, spending hundreds of pounds on taxis. And it was because I wanted to work with the brand and then I still didn't get to anyway. So
that's such a shame.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Now we know.
And I can tell
now
you
everyone
which
else
brand
knows.
it is as well because you'll be shocked.
I would love to know.
You will be shocked.
I've got like an inkling I've got a guess actually, but I won't say it on here.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to get cancelled or like blacklisted.
We won't say the brands on here. So talking about obviously that was a bad experience, but looking into the future, is there any brand that you would love to work with? Is like a dream brand that you haven't worked with already? You can put it out into the future. This is manifestation mode.
Do you know what? I would love to kind of move into like the luxury side of things. I know it's like not very common for a lot of influencers to do, but one day I would love to work with like a designer brand. I think that would be like goals. That would be absolute goals.
I mean, you've got the Prada sunglasses now.
Yeah, exactly.
Little
Prada.
segue in
some little content with that. You can grab their attention.
Because I do a lot of like skits where like I'll get a guy to buy me a Chanel bag and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think to be able to turn that into like a brand deal, I don't know if that's like a bit unrealistic, but that would definitely be a dream one day.
I feel like you might as well put it out there. It could go viral.
That'd be amazing. I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd love that
House
so much.
of CB. I adore them. They've gifted me before, but I would love to do like a paid campaign. Yeah, that would be insane.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So in terms of people that are wanting to start out, do you have any like quick fire tips for the people that are wanting to start out with the influencer side of things?
You literally just have to not care what anyone thinks. You have to not care what your family thinks, what your friends think, what strangers on Instagram think, what people from your hometown think. You have to let go of everybody else's opinion because the only person's opinion that matters at the end of the day is your own. And I think there are so many benefits to being a content creator. Like the benefits are crazy. Some of the things that I get to do, I have to pinch myself like daily and I'm like, oh my goodness. But there comes sacrifices with that and you will be judged. People will think you're cringy. People aren't going to like what you're doing, especially if it's different from what, you know, the path that they're taking or what that, you know, people put you in a box a lot of the time. So if you step out of that, they're really not going to like it. And you're going to face a lot of judgment, a lot of hate, but you literally just have to cancel it out. If you want it enough, then you will. So literally just block out the hate, focus on what you're doing. And if the thing is, anybody can do it. Like, you don't have to look a certain way anymore to like be an influencer. You don't have to look like a Victoria's Secret model. It used to kind of be that way.
I think
but
it's more
now
personality now.
yeah, people,
sure.
brands want to work with people that are relatable, that show their personality, and everybody has something to offer. So if your content is good, you show your personality, you show something different, and you post consistently, anybody can do it.
I feel so inspired. I feel like there's a mic drop moment there. Yeah. Ooh, that was so good. Do you have a crazy influencer story by any chance? Or
yeah, I mean, do you know what? I was thinking about this, and I'll tell you one just quickly that happened the other day.
Yeah.
So a guy commented on my video. He's been commenting on my videos for like a year, and I have noticed it, but I've just ignored it. And he basically
that is consistency,
because it's like good for engagement.
Yeah,
even though it was like
course.
weird comments, like very creepy.
no.
But the other day he commented saying he'd seen me outside the coffee shop that's next to my apartment, and I knew that I was there the other day as well.
Oh no.
So I was like freaking out because I was like, I've got a stalker. But I just blocked him on everything. He said he was going to, he said, oh, I was on the way to a PT session at this place that's near my apartment. But next time we're linking and jeeting. And I didn't really know what that meant.
What is jeeting?
But I think, I didn't know what it meant, but I think it's something inappropriate.
Okay.
So yeah, I was kind of like, is he harassing me? Is he stalking me? Like, I'm kind of frightened now.
If he saw you there.
I mean, I'm glad that he didn't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, thank God he did it.
I think I'm going to go to the gym that he was saying he was at and just like speak to them and maybe see if like they can have a word with him or something. But then I don't want to anger him.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Okay.
so yeah, that's just one thing that you have to deal with as like a content creator. Like I said, even though there's a lot of benefits, like there's a lot of sacrifices, like sometimes you're not going to feel 100% safe, even like where you live, which is quite scary.
So scary.
It is scary.
That's
Yeah,
so
a lot of people
scary,
are watching.
yeah.
But I've had loads of stuff like that. I've had friends that are in the industry that have had stalkers and it's got like really, really bad. Like there is a dark side to putting yourself out there on social media. I think especially as a woman, that a lot of people don't realize.
Wow.
Yeah. And you're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So
hopefully
God.
that's the goal.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
At
there's
least
obviously
you've blocked him now, so
yeah, hopefully
Fingers
he'll like
crossed.
leave me alone.
leave me alone. I'm not getting any more.
Fingers crossed. Or touch
Oh my
wood.
God, it's scary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
so
going to
scary.
ask him a question like any horror stories, but that sounds
I guess
pretty,
pretty
pretty scary.
I mean, he's
Wow.
thinking it's a rom-com. I'm thinking it's a horror movie. Like, clearly lost in
Something's
translation.
not aligned here.
Yeah.
This is not the start of a romance story.
Oh my God.
Um,
Scary.
That is so scary. Okay, I think we're gonna, unless you have any other questions, Asti,
I think
we're
we're
gonna
good to move
wrap
on.
up with our
Yeah,
icks. So this is essentially like a quick fire round.
Yes.
So I actually love it that you talk to people about their dating stuff. So
Yeah.
the icks are going to be related to that,
Can't
as well
wait.
as some social media stuff, of course.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is say, I'll say something, and you guys have to say whether it's an ick or not. We can all join in.
Yeah.
Yay,
Let's do it.
fun.
Okay, baby voices. Ick or no ick? Not an ick.
I do it when I'm in a relationship and when I love a man. I do the baby voice. I do, and I don't know what it is. Apparently, I googled it, and it's because you feel safe with them, which is like
It's
really
that-
cute.
it
But
is,
if the
yeah.
guy did it to me,
Yeah,
like
I was going to
straight
say,
up
if
pick.
it's the guy doing it to you.
Yeah, but I do
But
love
then I
doing the
also
baby
get-
voice because I love
Yeah.
to feel like a little girl. Like I love when a man makes me feel just like a little baby.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite.
It'd be very weird if you only met them a few times though and they started doing it.
You'd be like, wait a sec.
Yeah, you know, we've got to be like
No.
6 months deep for
Yeah,
me
you
to
need
be
to be
able to do
comfortable,
it.
yeah.
I'd actually have to be in a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Okay, people that overshare on social media, ick or not an ick?
I quite like it.
Yeah.
I think it's like nice
Yeah.
to see like an insider of their life.
Yeah, I also do
Yeah.
this all the time as well. I'm so guilty.
There's like a fine line, isn't there? And I think I definitely used to overshare more, but then when you start working with brands, you really have to see your social media as a business, and I can't
Yeah,
just
you need to be
post like,
careful, yeah.
I just have
Yeah.
to be so careful. I can't just post what I want anymore, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just have to be careful now.
There is a fine line.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm unfortunately
I'm
not
such
a
an
creator.
oversharer though in real life.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
real
real
life,
life.
we
That's
love that.
another
I am a
thing.
yapper.
We're all
Yes.
oversharing.
I know all about Asti saying
She's everything.
No, I am such a yapper.
Oh my God, me too, honestly.
Okay, breathing heavily. Ick or no ick?
Oh, I got so angry.
Yeah.
Do you?
If someone's like doing it next to me,
Yeah,
like
to be
in a
honest, I
social
hate that.
situation, I think I just get very overstimulated, and that pushes me over the edge. Like that's just too much. If I'm already like in a bad
just
mood,
breathing just
Yeah,
to
just
I like
live.
look at
No, I
them,
can't.
do
Yeah.
that quick look,
That's so
like
funny.
stop it now, please.
Okay, when they ask you what your star sign is, This is the first time.
like that.
Yeah.
You like that?
I'm into like all of that.
I like it when a girl asks me, but not when a guy asks me. I'm like, oh.
Red flag.
Yeah, this is a bit
Someone
weird.
cooked here. Someone has taught him about star signs before.
It's true. That's actually
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't find that like weird?
No, I kind of like to see are we compatible or not.
I know, I'm like, ask your mum what time
Yeah,
you're
I'm
born.
like, you know, we compatible. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, when you check their social media page and all their pictures are literally just selfies of themselves.
It's a red flag, but that's the kind of guys that I go for usually, which is bad. Because it's like, I don't know, I feel like pictures with their friends can sometimes be like a little bit cringe. I think that can be a bit more cringy. Whereas a guy, like, if he is attractive and it's just like all pictures of himself, I'm like, oh,
it would depend.
more material to stalk.
Yeah, true, very true.
What do you think?
To be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I date them.
Yeah, because usually those type of guys are going to break your heart.
Yes,
They're going to be huge players. They've got a lot of girls on the go.
On
like,
the DMs.
Yeah.
It's always the kind of guys that I go for, though, and it ends terribly.
Oh, no.
It ends badly. So it's a red flag, but I wouldn't say that it's an ick.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's nice to look at, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Okay, controversial, but if they're open about having cheated on someone before.
Ooh,
Send them to jail. Send them to jail. No.
Yeah, but what if it's better that they're not lying. Or
That's very bare minimum, though.
Yeah, to be fair, very true.
Bare minimum. I don't know. I just feel like if someone's cheated before, I want to think that I'm special and I'm going to be the one to change them, but realistically, like, you're probably not.
Yeah.
So I just think if they've cheated
Yeah,
before,
also
like, they
sometimes
probably will
guys
do
I
it
feel
again.
like brag about it, and that's even that's the worst.
Oh God!
Or
If
that's
they're
like the even
bragging
worse.
about it,
Yeah,
that's
like
an ick
I
and a
think
red flag
maybe
times
young,
1,000.
immature
Yeah.
boys
I think
brag
if they were
about
like
it.
loads younger, it's like, okay, maybe we can let that one slide. But if it was like in their like recent years, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if they have it in them to cheat once, like surely they're going to do it again. I mean, I would be open to hearing out like the reasons, but for me, that is an ick.
Topless photos on their socials / showing too much sin. I like looking.
I think
Yeah,
it's fine.
same. Like I don't think it's a
I
big
think it's
deal. Yeah.
bad.
Okay, so but thanks so much for like joining us today. Really loved having you coming, joining.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, loved hearing about your story and everything.
Yeah, if you want to just shout out where people can find you, that would be great.
Yeah, your
It's just
handles.
Layla Layzell
Yeah.
on all platforms.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Amazing.
Amazing. Well, we'll catch you next time, and yeah.
Bye guys.
Bye.